Does the Pope support exorcisms? I don't know. I love the Pope. You never know what this Pope's gonna do next. Yes. And that next thing that he did was kind of make some statements about exorcism. Now, for the longest time, exorcism was something that was totally fine to do. And then in 1999, there was a new rule under which the Vatican urged priests to say, like, if someone comes to you and they seem to be having a mental problem, it's possible that it's not the devil. It's possible it might be a mental illness issue, in which case show them to a doctor. And the Pope, who is the highest ranking official in the Vatican and the Catholic Church, sets these kind of agenda items and tones, and he says that the devil's in the details. You know what I mean? That's the only joke I came up with ahead of time today.
It doesn't show.
Yeah, no, just signpost. All right, the devil's in the details. He says discernment is necessary also because those who approach the confessional may come from the most desperate situations. When the confessor becomes aware of the presence of genuine spiritual disturbances that may be in large part psychic, and therefore must be confirmed by means of healthy collaboration with the human sciences, he must not hesitate to refer the issue to those who in the diocese are charged with this delicate and necessary ministry, namely doctors, just kidding, exorcists.
So here's my interpretation of that. That's the Pope saying, like, come on, I don't really believe this. But it's still a powerful force in the church, and I can't uproot everything at once and tell you that exorcism is a load of crap. Come on, though. First, confer with a real doctor. I like your reading of it, of the human scientists.
Yeah. It's human sciences, it's so good.
Yes.
The ones people did.
Right.
Not the religious sciences.
And then confer with the non-human scientist called exorcists. So he's trying to get you to lean in that direction and trying to strike the right balance without stepping on too many Catholic toes. But it's still funny to see the framing, right? He says you should do the exorcism only if absolutely necessary. What is an exorcism really absolutely necessary? And he says, and if there's real spiritual disorders, as opposed to the fake spiritual disorders. I see Trump tweeting about all the time. Fake spiritual disorder.
Sad. Oh, I love this.
I think he's trying to make a distinction between spiritual disorders and mental illness.
Right. Yes.
And I think this is obviously the purview of the church, right? But I think there are people who like commune and dabble in the occult, and you should probably see your local religious expert pending their training, training seminars for potential exorcists for help. Because I think that, I'm not a medical professional, and I think he is saying seek medical intervention. But I think there are folks who do and dabble with spiritual stuff who, you need to see some religious folks.
I believe that
I don't agree, by the way, but yes.
I saw the movie The Exorcist. And
then you're an expert.
So I'm an expert, and I'm not a doctor. But I did watch Grey's Anatomy seasons like first 5, I want to say. Pretty religiously, ironically.
Yeah, grade A analyst here. Go ahead, Brett Ehrlich, on our exorcism A team.
So before I give my thoughts, let me undercut my credibility 1,000%. But there's a placebo effect where it's like some people believe. If you believe you're cured, and this is a very small amount of people who have mental illnesses, or people who present to have mental illnesses, I think that there are some folks, or there may be some folks for whom a over-dramatized event with an authoritative figure like an exorcist there presents like this rite of passage that they can go through, a tangible experience that everyone believes in and lends credence to whatever's wrong with them, regardless if it's described as like a crazy demon possession. But they can go through this experience and come out the other side the same way you can take a sugar pill and just believe you're cured and then be cured. It's the magic feather.
Yeah, I saw my grandpa do some Muslim voodoo prayer reading, just like exorcism. Not just like exorcism, nowhere near it, but it was a simpler form. And in Islam, you're supposed to whisper over there or blow. They like do this, Now, even as a 16-year-old, I was like, this is totally bullshit. Okay. And then the lady felt like she was really cured of her back pain. She did. She was walking around. And it's the placebo effect. There's no, I know my grandfather. He doesn't believe it. Okay. He was just going, right? And it worked. It worked. And without any real intent or anything behind it. So, look, so Amber, you sound a little bit more spiritual or religious than I am, which is not a hard thing to do.
I'm not tipping the scales here.
Right. But look, to me, so I'm going to be much harsher than you or you, Brad. There is no, you should never do an exorcism. It's not a real thing. Okay, there's no like maybe spiritual disorder. No, you're sick. You should go to a psychiatrist or get some real help. And I mean, and when I always tell the story of Bobby Jindal, former governor of Louisiana, who when he was in college, I think at like Dartmouth or something like that, they kidnapped this poor girl and did an involuntary exorcism on her. Oh my God, you're a lunatic! Don't do that! Don't do that! So I'm sorry, but no, there's the demons don't exist and they don't possess you, and you can't get them out by going if you're Muslim or Catholic or anything else. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I am not subscribing to exorcisms or exorcists or these trained professionals, which I did not know existed until this article. And I think mental illnesses are real. I think that the folks we see on the Bible, the crazy Bible channels where they're tapping people with oil and they're passing out, I think all of that is ridiculous. But I do think there are certain instances where people believe or experience spirits or experience emotions as spirits, right? So depression or what have you. And I think if you want to go to your religious leader for prayer, then I think that makes sense. Exorcism seems extreme, but I do think ultimately, if you have a responsible religious leader, he's gonna tell you to go seek some medical help.
Yeah, so look, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like Reza Aslan says, he says, Islam is the vessel for my spirituality. I don't have to believe every word of it for me to say, that's how I express my spirituality. And that you're saying that Christians obviously feel that way in other ways. And I will say the same thing I said to Reza. I don't believe that. I think, okay, I hear you, brother, but I don't agree. But the one thing we can all agree on is that it is amusing that there are professional exorcists.
Love it.
And I like the way they're like, get a load of these amateur exorcists.
Right, is there like a D league, like a development league?
Yeah.
Like a certificate?
The amateur exorcist.
What do you get, a robe?
Yeah.
Graduation, exorcism, graduate. Are there exorcism boards you have to take? Maybe.
Let's put some watchers on the wall. Investigative journalists to run down the Trump administration and the establishment. You can make that happen. TYTnetwork.com/go.